Okay.
So, what's the name of your company that you work with?
I work with a
Or
company
for?
for TJ Campbell Construction.
Okay, so tell me what they do. What does this company do?
It actually does a couple of different things. There's well, two really different things. It makes asphalt for roads, and we also pave them as well. We till up the roads, and then we also take in broken up concrete and then we crush it down into gravel.
Okay, and what do you do at that company?
I am a ground hand for the asphalt plant itself.
Okay, and do you work alone or do you work with a group of people?
I work with a group of people.
Okay, so tell me about that group of people. What kind of people do you work with?
I work with 4 guys.
Okay, and what are their racial? What's the racial makeup of the group?
They're all white Caucasians.
Okay,
No,
do only white Caucasians work at this company?
no.
Okay, what other racial groups are there?
Italian, Mexican, African American, and Caucasian, for what I know.
Okay, so tell me about Mexican Americans.
Mhm.
What do they do for the company?
They are the crushing crew at one of our sites. They take the broken concrete and they put it in a big old crusher, and it crushes it into smaller rocks, which is screened, and then crushed again into smaller rocks for
Okay,
gravel.
and at that company, is that considered to be a good job to have, or one of the better jobs to have, or one of the not so great jobs to
If you're like the crew leader or the loader operator, it's a good job to have. But if you're the metal picker, it's pretty much the low man on totem pole.
have? Okay, of the various positions.
Right.
Okay, compared to your position, is your position better than theirs, or worse than theirs?
My position is probably worse than the crew leader and the loader operator, but it's right around the metal picker.
Okay,
It's just they have to deal with a whole lot more dust, but I don't have to deal with as much, but it's still about the same amount of work.
okay, but they have more environmental concerns then with dust,
Right.
more health issues perhaps.
Possibly.
So some people would say that would be a form of discrimination, that the company is automatically putting the minorities in the most dangerous positions that could lead to long-term health issues and things of that nature. Do you agree with that? That possibly that's putting them at risk?
Uh, I kind of do, but I kind of don't, because pretty much all of that crushing crew is family connected, and the upper guy threw his name in and got him the job, and that's how they just go up through the system over there.
Okay, so all the people on that crew are related, and they're all Mexican American
Correct.
or Mexican. Do you think this is typical of that culture, that they would help each other out, try to get them jobs?
I think it would be typical for any culture to help each other out.
Okay, so that means that you work with your relatives?
I did. My brother actually worked there before I did, and he threw my name in the hat and got me the job.
Okay. So some people would say that because they're Mexican Americans, they probably don't speak English. Is that true?
Slightly, they don't speak very good English at all.
Okay. And do you think that hinders them? Does that hurt them by the fact they don't speak English?
Yeah, it kind of hurts them and us because we can't communicate very clearly with each other
Okay.
on about, like, if something happens, something breaks, we can't communicate clearly to each
Okay.
other.
And if you can't communicate clearly, now do you speak Spanish?
Very little.
Very little, and they speak very little English.
Correct.
So of the two groups, how are you going to solve that problem? Are you going to learn Spanish? Or are they going to learn English? What's going to happen there? If you had to communicate, what would happen?
If we had to communicate, most likely get the best guy that can speak Spanish and English at that time is what we usually do.
Okay, but what if all of you had to go to speaking one language? Which language would you speak?
Which language would I speak, or which language?
The entire company. If the company made a rule that said one language only, which language would it be?
It would probably be English.
Do you think that's right? Is that fair?
I wouldn't think that's fair at all.
Okay. So how would you change that? What would you propose instead?
Uh, I would propose that everybody needs to at least learn English and Spanish.
Okay. And this is an issue that's
At least to an extent where they can communicate clearly.
or at least so they can communicate.
Yeah.
And this is a larger problem in our society, right? That we have a lot of people that can't speak either English or they can't speak Spanish. So would you propose that for society as a whole, that maybe we start learning a little bit so we can communicate?
I would propose it, and it probably should be the right thing to do, but it wouldn't happen in our society
And why is that?
because of the majority has the power are mostly Caucasians.
And they don't want to learn Spanish, is what you
Right.
think?
Right.
Okay. Well, on this topic, I mean, it's fascinating, but is there anything else, you've seen this communication breakdown perhaps at your job because of the difference between language and language barriers. Are there any other final thoughts that you'd like to talk about as far as like language barriers in general, or, anything else?
Not really.
Okay. Well, thank you.